my gosh, I don't want to cry. Oh my god, am I crying? I don't want to cry. Oh, why am I crying? Yeah, I'm sad too. To be honest, this is my first like actual physical vision board, but I figured with the start of this channel it made more sense to have something tangible to be able to share with you all and kind of give you more insight into my hopes and dreams. And I'm really excited. So last year there was a lot that happened that I just did not expect, and it kind of threw me for a loop to not really have anything that I was continually working towards every day. It was very uninspiring. So I figured this year I want to start off on a high note. I want to be able to share this with you all. So hopefully this inspires some of you to make your vision boards, or if you already have, let me know what's something that you added to yours that might be worth adding to mine. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. So here is my vision board. She is small, but she is mighty, don't worry. I also would like to get her framed, or I don't know, put her up. We'll see. I think the thing about vision boards is that you're actually supposed to put them in a place where you see them every day. Isn't that kind of the point? There's a lot going on here. So I think I'm gonna start over in this corner right here, which, if you can see, is someone doing the heart hands at a concert. If there's anything to know about me, is that I love a concert. I have been to, my knowledge, 60 concerts probably. I first started going to them when I was 13. My first concert was Selena Gomez. I love to experience live music, specifically artists whose music has personally been a part of my life for a significant period, or if there's songs that really resonated with me that are just like emotional for me to hear live. I don't have any concerts. I feel like everyone in the last few years has already just kind of gone on tour, and I've seen, for the most part, everyone that I've ever wanted to see. But concerts are a source of happiness for me. They're something I'm more than willing to spend a certain amount of money on, and especially being in Los Angeles, I get the opportunity to always have a concert near me no matter what, which is completely different than how I grew up in Oregon. There was a really big artist that just didn't make a stop there. I just never saw them. I don't have any tickets actually right now, but there could just be someone that is on tour or is stopping by and I just haven't even bothered to look yet. I am more than happy to go more in depth into all the concerts I've gone to. If you all want a video on that, let me know. Okay, so up next we have this image, and if you see it, it just says, it's a notebook page with the sentence, "Dear Lord," written on it. So personally, I am Catholic. Over the years, I have become increasingly closer and more intentional about my faith, and a big part of it has just been feeling so blessed with every situation that I've thought I was never going to overcome, or just having someone to believe in, especially when times get tough. It's the world has gone through so much in the past couple of years that I truly don't even know how I would have made it out if I didn't have my faith, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, and it's very personal to me. So one of my intentions for the year is to actually make more time for my faith, and whether that means becoming more involved in my parish or meeting other people who also practice the same faith, I just want to be more intentional about going to adoration / holy hour, because I think as I've gotten older, life has just gotten so much more busy. I always want to make sure that my faith is at the center of my life. So that's really something that I want to practice this year. Next, we have this image right here, if you can see that. So that just says, stop waiting for everything to be perfect to be happy. This last year was actually really crazy for me, just mentally and emotionally. I went through a lot, and I actually was very fortunate enough to be able to seek therapy and also graduate from therapy all in the same year. I am so thankful for my therapist. I do not know what I would have done without her. I'm only gonna get emotional because I don't see her anymore. I promise we're not gonna cry. Oh no, she would tell me to cry. I don't want to cry. Okay. Something that I worked through a lot last year was my perfectionism, which is rooted in a lot of things. I personally believe it's being a middle child and being a child of immigrants and being a woman of color. Like, there's just a lot that goes into it. There are just so many things that happen that really cause me to put this undue pressure on myself to consistently be better and have to be the best. And it's really exhausting, and it could really stem from the smallest things in childhood, like getting good grades and being expected to have the good grades, and just seeing the sacrifices that your parents make and just wanting to make sure that like it was always worth it for them. But things like that, right? That just kind of put this, again, pressure on yourself that maybe it was never expected from your parents. And somewhere along the way, my mind thought that it was something that was always expected, and it just ingrained itself into who I was, and it caused a lot of mental anguish, anxiety, exhaustion, and burnout. But again, that can be a whole other video on its own. It's all to say that the last year I really worked a lot on like letting go of things and trying not to really be upset about the smallest things that I can't control, and just accepting that like there are just some things that are out of my control, and some things that will happen that will really not be the end of the world as I used to think. For me this year, I feel like I keep telling myself I can't do this because this hasn't happened, and I want to get out of that mindset, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's never going to be the perfect timing. I'm not going to have like the perfect life, and just knowing you can do things whenever you want. Like you don't have to wait for something necessarily to do what makes you happy. Okay, so up next I have this image down here. So this is just a picture of a woman running on a bridge in the morning. I actually did that this morning. As you may have seen, some of my content is very run focused. Running is just something that has brought me a community in a city that is so big, and it's hard to find kind of that tight-knit group of people that you see regularly outside of work. Something else that you may have caught in one of my other videos is that I plan to run a marathon. I do still plan to run a race this year. I don't know that the marathon is still in the cards for me at this point, but I do still hope to at least run a half. And whether that is the one that I was originally planning or one down the road, I still hope that I'm able to do that. And I also just want to keep running and continuing with the community that I've built here. Up next, I have this image right here at the top. So something else about me is that I love to shop. I am fascinated with the amount of malls that are in LA, and I make it a point to visit as many as I can. There are some that I actually haven't even checked out yet. I do have my go-tos, trust me. The Westfield Century City Mall will always have my heart. That is, before I started therapy, that was my therapy. I would go there and get some fresh air, shop around, get a pretzel. It has everything. It's also, I think, one of the newest, so maybe I'm just biased. I put it on my vision board because I just feel like I don't really have a personal sense of style as much anymore, and I think part of it is also due to just the changing style trends. People are really embracing a lot of neutrals and a lot of basics, and I feel like within the last year I bought every possible basic and every possible shade of neutral colors that my closet just kind of looks a little bit too beige. So this year I want to make it a point to like find some pieces that will define my personal style. Okay, next I have this image here. I just wanted this image as a reminder to myself that I can buy myself flowers. Insert the Miley Cyrus song here. I can buy myself whatever I want, frankly. And I wanted that to serve as a metaphor that ultimately I can make myself happy, and I need to remember that more often. Now looking at the bottom, here we are, this pic. So that is a picture of a makeup bag, and that is actually one of my resolutions, low-key, is to do Project Pan, which you may or may not have heard of. So with makeup, obviously there's a lot of products that I've just bought over the years, tested and tried, and I feel like I'm finally finding something that works for me. I know makeup has expiration dates, obviously, so there's certain products that this might not apply to, but for me, I wouldn't say that any of my products have gone bad per se. Maybe the expiration date is rubbed off, sure, but I'm still using it, and it hasn't caused any harm to my skin or anything crazy like that. So I will keep using it, and I want to hit pan on as many of my products this year as possible, including the ones that I hardly reach for. Next, we have this image right here. So this is a picture of people drinking wine at dinner, having a little cocktail, and basically, this is gonna sound really sad, but I promise it's not. It's just who I am. I feel like when I first moved to LA, I was very dependent on my friendships that came out of the relationship that I was in at the time. As a result of my relationship ending, a lot of my friendships did as well, which was very unfortunate. But then again, that left me feeling like I had this support system that I felt I can't cry. And so I used the last year to build so many friendships and meet so many people. The people that have been with me since the minute that I moved to LA are my coworkers, like turned indirect family at this point. We hang out so much and I literally love you all and trust you with my life. Including the people that I met have truly meant so much to me, and I want to continue investing in those friendships because those are friendships that I found and created for myself. And it also will serve as a reminder to me to know that I'm not alone. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I'm making it seem more sad than it is, but I wanted to serve as a reminder that I'm not alone. I was never alone, and the people in the city care about me more than I'll ever know. Next, I have this image down here. This just says less time questioning, more time creating. This is directly related to my content creation journey, specifically YouTube, where there are so many videos that I am brainstorming and I'm excited to eventually create and put out, but I do tend to get stuck on the overthinking aspect where I'm like, is this something people would want to watch? Is this something that would be worthwhile? But this year I want to avoid falling into the rabbit hole of just overthinking and basically getting to a point where I don't make things because people aren't interested in seeing them. And I feel like that'll just give me more freedom in the creative process. Honestly, just doing things because it makes me happy, it makes me laugh, and if people consume it, great, and if people don't, it'll be for me to look back on in future years and see everything that I was enjoying at this time in my life. I just want to spend less time questioning, more time creating. Okay, now I'm gonna go with this image up here. This is just a picture of an airplane window, and I want to travel more this year than everyone on earth. I do get the chance to travel back home pretty often, I'd say. I don't know if I would consider that travel, but I mean, I am getting on a plane, so I'll let it slide. But there are places that I eventually want to visit that I just have not had the chance to like sit down and plan out. And there are some trips that I'm hoping to take this year and trips that I know I'm for sure going on this year that I am very excited about. So I want to keep this on as a reminder to look forward to things to come. This bottom image actually kind of goes hand in hand with that top image. So this is just an excerpt from a book. I couldn't tell you what book. That says, I dreamed of New York, I am going there. I feel like I visited every major city in the US for the most part, but the one that I just have not been able to go out to is New York. I do tell my bosses every year that if there's ever an opportunity for me to travel out to New York, that I would love to go. So that is just my wishful thinking for the year. Regardless of if my job sends me or not, I do hope to go sometime soon. Next, we have this bottom right picture here. So that right there is the famous YouTube plaque that you get after you reach 100,000 subscribers. A girl can dream, okay? That's all I'll say on that. If you want to make it happen for me, I wouldn't be opposed, you know? So again, be sure to subscribe. I'm just gonna jump back up to this right here. Okay, so if you could see, that is an image of Benjamin Franklin tied up in a nice little bow. It's just funny looking at it because it's right next to my shopping bags and my concerts, which are two of probably the most expensive things that I spend money on. I feel like everyone always talks about like, oh, getting your finances, oh, budget planning. I am the queen of justifying a purchase. Even if I don't need it, I feel like my brain will somehow rationalize, like, no, actually, this is why you need it. In all seriousness, I want to be more money conscious this year. I want to understand where my money goes, try to be a little bit more budgeted this year where I can. Okay, next is this image right here. So that is an image of a woman at a pew in a church. I spent a lot of time the last year, both at my home parish and other parishes around LA, just really sitting in church, sitting in adorations. It just brought me so much peace and allowed me to almost vent in a way and also pray about things that I didn't even know I needed to pray about. Like, I would go there and I feel like the Spirit would tell me what I needed to hear, which is the most comforting thing ever, especially when you're not sure what direction your life is going in. I would take all my worries and anxieties and pray about them and just kind of get this feeling of relief knowing that everything was going to be okay. I really benefited a lot from being in that setting. Something that I always like to say too is knowing that I can feel so alone in this city, but the minute I step into a Catholic church, I feel so at home. It's so comforting to just have a place to go to and leave feeling with like a renewed sense of hope. That is just something that I want to continue to prioritize in this year as well. Okay, next up, I have this picture right here. So that is a stack of books, which I know, reading, but here's the thing. For starters, I went through a reading phase during the pandemic. There are a few books that I can name, not to be dramatic, that changed the trajectory of my life. Like, no joke. I read books during the pandemic that were specifically memoirs of people who had worked in the Obama administration and talked about political communications, political strategy, careers that piqued my interest into what I thought I wanted to work in after college, which was ultimately politics. Reading those books encouraged me to apply to an internship to work with the House of Representatives, which I eventually landed. But those books inspired me to take a leap of faith, and boy, did it change my life. I have since collected a number of books that were gifted to me, that I picked up, that were given to me for free, and every night I look at my nightstand and I still prefer to scroll on TikTok. I will one day break that habit, and I keep telling myself, today's not that day. I want to read at least one of the 7 books that I have on my nightstand this year at some point. And honestly, I think once I start reading one, I'll get the urge to just get through the others, but I gotta bite the bullet. Okay, lastly, I have this quote that is all across the board. I always get what I want because my expectations are high. And my expectations are high because I always get what I want. This is a quote that reminds me of my mom, actually. My mom always says that I always get what I want, whether it's something she ever wanted me to have or not. And that is just like the cherry on top. I mean, this quote is just so true in so many ways, and I just laugh at I always get what I want, because somehow, like I said, it happens, and I sometimes have no explanation for it. For now, I will credit it all to my faith. And that is my 2025 vision board. There's a reason why all these images belong together, and it's what makes me. If you stayed until the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. It means the world. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. Let me know what's on your vision board this year, or comment any video ideas that you want to see next.